October 2022, I remember being in a boat with like 15, 20 people. We were getting ready to go diving. Anybody is certified here? Have done diving? You guys are. Have you done it before? So you know that it's a whole process. You gotta suit up, you gotta prepare your tank. There's a whole process behind it. And just to get certified, you gotta go through a course and pass that course. So I'm certified, I'm going diving, I've done it a few times. 15, 20 people of us, we're getting suited, I prepare my tank. But in this particular trip, the only difference to the ones before is that we're gonna be diving with sharks. Imagine that. Have any of you been diving with sharks before?
No.
Not on purpose, right? You just run into them. Well, in this diving, I think it was in St. Thomas, if I remember correctly, it was to dive with sharks. That was the expectation. A lot of sharks. At least I thought it was gonna be a few, ended up being a lot of them. We're suited, we have a couple of guys diving with us. As you know, once you put your suit, if you're wearing a suit, you also do fins, you lose mobility. Your mobility is very limited. So usually you suit up in the place where you're gonna jump. And as you know, you jump backwards because you have a 60, 80 pounds tank behind you. So once you have your fins and that 60, 80 pounds tank behind you, you cannot do much. So you sit down and then you just jump backwards and let gravity do its things, right? And then I jump. As I'm descending, I realize that my mask start getting foggy. You know that when you see the difference between pressure too, that can happen, right? But there's a trick to actually fix that underwater. You guys remember how? You put oxygen in the air and all of that. Well, in that trip, previous to that trip, it has been a while that I don't go diving, so I forgot how to do it. So we're already all in the water, we're underwater, there's no way to communicate one another. I barely remember all the signs. You know that underwater there's a few signs and stuff and this and that. I don't remember because it's been a while, right? We're descending, my mask gets more foggy and foggy as we go down. And remember, we're supposed to be diving with sharks. And in my head, I'm telling myself, well, Brian, you know that there's a way to fix it, but I'm so deep down that I'm afraid to try it and get my mask full of water. Because what is worth at a foggy mask? A mask full of water when swimming with sharks. I want to show you, this is the mask. My mask started getting foggy and cover itself. As I'm start coming down, it gets to a point that it's so foggy that all I have left, it's a small piece, just the corner of my mask. So imagine just being like this, being deep down, we're talking about 80, 90 meters deep, and you only can see in the corner of your eye. I start seeing the sharks, some big, some small, in the corner of my eyes. What do you think is the feeling when that happens? Panic, freaked out internally. I cannot even scream. The diving guide, it's somewhere, I don't see it. All I see is sharks. And sometimes the sharks start coming towards you because they're curious. You're new in their territory or in their waters. I see the sharks all over and I'm panicking. I spot my guide, my diving guide somewhere and start swimming towards him. I touch him and I point out and he can see my mask being foggy. So he then instruct me, I'm trying to tell him underwater that, look, it's foggy, you can see it, and he signaled me like, just fix it. But there's no way for me to tell him like, I don't know how to do it. So I'm like, I don't know. So he starts instructing me how to do it. And he started doing it himself. Usually, if you have experience, the way to do it is, you lift your mask like this, you let oxygen come out of your mouth, and then you lift it like this, and all the oxygen, you start cleaning your mask. You get to a point that you can have it fully clean and no water in it. That's the way to do it. So instruct me how to do it. 70, 80 meters down there, I tried it, I did it, and I had a full clean mask. I feel then better, but the shark still is there. Now I can see they're clear. So I start diving, I see all the sharks coming around. I actually stay next to the guy just looking. He's swimming in the front. I'm just like right behind him, you know, looking around all the sharks. Until time passes, I can see the sharks. I can see that they don't represent any dangers. They get closer, but they go away, and then I start feeling relaxed. Why? Because now I can see. It gets to a point that I feel so comfortable that I see the diving guide at some point looking at a shark at the bottom of the ocean, and he goes and pet him. The shark is sleeping, and I'm like right next to him, seeing the shark, and I just signal him. It's like, hey, can I touch it? And he's like, yeah, do it. So I get closer. Guys, I ended up petting a shark under the water. That's how comfortable I was getting, right? It got to a point also that I was so comfortable that I saw a huge shark just swimming somewhere, and by myself start following the shark. We're talking about like a meter distance. And down there, I'm just thinking to myself, man, like I'm swimming behind a shark. This shark can just turn around anytime and come back and eat me alive. The moral of the story, and I tell you all of that because every time that I reflect on it, three things comes to mind. One, you have to be prepared in anything you do, especially when going diving with sharks. There has to be some sort of preparation. When diving, you had to take a course, and they teach you the signals, how to prepare your suit, how to clean your mask so you can see. There has to be a preparation. And I remember my diving instructor, when I was taking the test, he telling me, people don't go diving often. Some people, they actually take it as a hobby and they go it every weekend, right? But most people, they go once in a while, yes or no? You usually go maybe once a year, maybe once in a couple of years. So he said, people tend to forget the signs, the instructions on how to put the suit and everything. And if you think about it, it's a life or death. It's skill that you learn. He said, remember he saying this to me, you can either take a refresher, which most people don't, but the other solution is just go dive more often. The more often you go dive, then you're gonna remember all these things. The second thing that I learned from that story is that you need an instructor. Imagine if I were to be going diving and I wouldn't have that guy with me and spending a whole hour 70, 80 meters down water, just figuring out swimming with sharks. That would have been good for me with the foggy mask and just looking by my corner. And the final thing that I learned from the experience is that you still have to do it. You need the instructions, you need the instructor, but you still had to do it. Once I had the instructions and the instructor, I lost my fear, I cleaned my mask, and then I felt confident enough that I could pet sharks and I can just go around. That was a mini speech, guys. What do you guys think about that speech?
Started with a story.
Started with a story.
You had some props to visualize.
There you go. Props, story. To your point, Chris, information and facts, it's helpful, but if you can attach it to a story, that can make it more reliable with people, yes or no? Look how the two of you raised your hands and said, yes, we've been diving before. So every time that I tell any detail of the story, you can relate because you've been through that experience. Maybe not the exact experience going with sharks, but you put a mask before, you had a tank before, you had to suit on, and everything that I shared with you was a confirmation, yes or no? What else do you guys notice in the story or in the speech?
I was in the story. Like I'm in the water because I know how to do all those things.
There was engagement. Because of the way that I lay out down information, I keep you guys engaged. There was a structure. I started with the context, right? Started with the date, and I ended up with an actual thought about it, which is the three things that I learned from it. There was an actual realization, an actual conclusion on the speech, yes or no? So that was what we call a prepared speech. I thought about the story, I became prepared with my props so you can visualize it. So a prepared speech is anything where you have the time to prepare, right? And that's what I want to be talking about with public speaking. What comes to mind when you hear the words public speaking? I want you to talk to me and tell me what do you think about it. Public speaking, what comes to mind when you hear those words?
Speaking in front of others.
I think gripping fear.
And that
Yes, there you go. All of this is valid. We're going to touch into all of that. Look how in the definition it doesn't say that it has to be an audience or a public of 5 people, 10 people, 20 people. There's not a set amount of numbers. Public speaking is just speaking in public. And public could be anything, 1, 2, or hundreds of people. When we use the term public speaking, we usually think about a large audience. Public speaking could be even a one-on-one. And we do that all the time and so often as real estate agents. So that's why this is a skill that I told myself a long time ago that I want to master. Why is public speaking important? You win your crowd, you motivate others, and you inform people. Are any of these things, let me ask you, things that you do on a regular basis? Yes. Some of the benefits of public speaking. In the case of your career, sales, it helps with career advancement. It stand out in a workflow or workplace, bring people together. Socially, you can find supporters, get comfortable in social settings. Let's say that you have to say some sort of speech in a wedding. That's a social setting. Increase your professional network. And some of the personal benefits is that it boosts your confidence, it gives you personal satisfaction, it creates this environment of critical thinking, improve your communication skills, you learn to argue, and you are a better listener. In the leadership realm as well. A good speaker is a good leader, and most of the great leaders in human history were also great public speakers. If you think about it, the most known leaders through history, they all are great public speakers, politicians too. Regardless if you like them or not, even Hitler, he was a leader, maybe a bad leader, but he was a leader because leader is somebody that has the capability of influencing people. So a good leader equals to opportunities, and that's what public speaking does to you. It will give you opportunities in social settings and any other aspects of your life. Why do you think that most people are afraid of speaking in public?
I'll tell you, for me, it's doing insurance. Sometimes when I go out and I public speak or I do a 10-minute presentation in our leads groups or whatever, if they ask a question that I truly can't answer.
Yeah. Or you think that you cannot answer,
Well, sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because laws haven't passed yet, or they're gonna pass, and we may know something that hasn't, and you can't really say or engage. It's like, and then I get that, so I don't know how to overcome that.
Yeah.
Or how to revert that question.
Yes. Okay.
So sometimes I'm like, I'd rather not, because I don't want to be in an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, that's valid. Anybody else? Why do you think that most people fear public speaking? People's number one fear is public speaking. The number two is death. This means that to the average person, if you go to a funeral, you're better off in the casket than giving the eulogy. That is crazy, but it's true. My question to you is, why the fear of public speaking? Let's talk about it. Why do you think that most people are afraid of speaking in public?
Fear of not having people engage with what you're presenting.
Fear of being criticized or judged.
Lack of confidence.
Lack of confidence. There you go. All of those are valid reasons, but if I have to tell you in one word all of that and summarize everything that you're saying, it comes down to insecurity. We're insecure. It could be because we don't have the answer and we don't like the fact that we don't have the answer. It could be because we don't know if whatever we have to share is valuable. It could be because we don't know what we're sharing. We don't feel confidence. It's all of that, but it comes down to insecurity. And everybody in this room have insecurities. It comes down to going into what they're gonna think, regardless of how you want to phrase it about. What is the opposite of insecurity?
Confidence.
Security, which also equivals to confidence, right? Right answer. So, how do you gain confidence? People think that confidence comes from receiving a lot of external validation and recognition from your looks, your strength, or gift. But in truth, confidence is a natural byproduct of accepting yourself at the deepest level. That is confidence. When you get to a point that, using your example, Christine, that you're okay with what you know and you're okay with what you don't know. If I'm interacting with somebody, I know that I don't know the answer. I'm okay with not knowing the answer. That is confidence. But not knowing doesn't mean that you're gonna stay like that. You can look for the answer. But it's on you in staying like that in that moment, or look for the answer for that potential client or for that person. But if you're okay with knowing who you are and what you know and what you don't know, that's what could create confidence. There's so many type of speeches, but I'm gonna give you the most common ones. The three most common type of speeches out there. You have the informative speeches. Those are, as it says in the title, any information that you have to relate to a group. Let's say in a company, in our case, when you're sharing information, when we meet with clients and we're sharing our knowledge, we're just informing. When people ask you, how's the real estate market? You're informing them, right? That's a very common question. The second one is persuasive speaking, which we all practice to some extent here. When you go to a buyer consultation or a listing presentation, you're informing the seller or buyer, right? Because you're giving the information for them to make a decision. At the same time, you are trying to persuade them for them to sign an agreement with you, for them to buy that house or sell that house with you, through you, yes or no? And then the other one is entertaining. That one you can see it more in social gatherings. If you have to speak in a wedding, in a birthday party, you're entertaining, and usually you incorporate some sort of comedy and all of that. Even comedians, that's a form of speech. Comedians prepare, the best comedians, they prepare the timing of the joke to give themselves some space between one another for the audience to listen to the joke, to react to it. All of that they prepare for, and those are another form of speeches. You mentioned the ons and the us. I'm gonna give you guys some basic things to consider when it comes to getting better at public speaking, stuff that we see often, right? The first thing is body language. 70% of communication is body language. If I'm talking to you and you ask me, so how are you doing? Are you selling a lot of real estate? Yeah, I'm selling a lot of real estate actually. I closed like 5 deals last month and I have like 1 or 2 properties coming. Do you notice I'm not even looking you in the eyes? It's hard to believe. And whatever I'm saying might be true, yes or no?
Yeah, it could be true.
It's true what I'm saying. My body language says another thing. Now, if I were to tell you this information, how are you doing? I'm doing great. I sold 10 houses in the last 2 months and the market is booming. Me and my team were selling real estate left and right. Have you thought about selling real estate? I'm looking you in your eyes. I'm sounding more confident. My body posture, everything is speaking for me too. And it's complementing whatever I'm saying. So that's why, guys, in any given time, you have to take in consideration the body language, the way that you stand, the way that you move, the tonality of your voice, where are your hands? I could be giving all this speech like this. Would it be the same?
No.
It wouldn't, right? We all have heard that before. Do we all believe that? Internally, we don't, because we don't understand that. Body language. Whenever you're doing some sort of speech, also the content is important as much as everything else. If you're not saying something of value, people are gonna acknowledge that and recognize and disconnect and disengage. So whatever content, whenever it's a prepared speech, make sure that it's something that it's of value to the person that you're speaking to. Buyers, sellers, give them the information that it's valuable to them. Grammar, especially for us immigrants, like for me, with time, one of the things that I've been working on that I've been getting better, if you think that I have an accent now, like you should have seen me a couple of years ago. Like for us, it makes it more difficult because our vocabulary is more limited and it takes time to practice. And certain words that we don't know how to use connect, but that's something to consider to relate a powerful message as well. And last but not least, the speech time. Imagine that I were to spend 3 hours talking about public speaking right now. The content might have been very valuable, and I can actually give you content for 3 hours, believe it or not, on public speaking. But if I sit you down right here for 3 hours, it doesn't matter how much water or pastry I give you, it will be exhausting for you, yes or no? We all seen that. We all been in a meeting or in a class where the content is very good. The speaker might be very good, but they don't measure their time and just talk and talk and talk. And most people, they lose interest to certain point, certain level, because you start thinking about that buyer that you have to show properties after here, the amount of emails that you're gathering right now while you're sitting down here, all the missed calls that you're receiving, the text messages you're getting while you're here. So that's why at any given time, whenever you're delivering a speech, make sure that you time it, that you find yourself in a specific time, whatever it is, wherever it is. Because the attention span nowadays is shorter more than ever. Yes or no? So because of that, make sure that whatever information you're relying is concise and having a specific time. And with that, talking about time, that's my presentation. Now, I want to put you on the spot. We talk about fears, right? And one of the things why public speaking is difficult for everybody is that. Everybody's starting getting comfortable here. Don't worry.
Hiding.
Everybody's hiding. What do you guys think that I'm going to do now? What is it? Question and answers. It could be. We're going to leave the questions and answers after this. What I want to do now is I want to put you to speak, right? So there's something cool called an improv speech, meaning that we all find ourselves in a gathering where we have to say something at a moment and we're not prepared, yes or no? Somewhere, we get some sort of recognition or a word that we're not expecting. It's a surprise and they give you the mic and tell you, say something. We've been in that uncomfortable spot before and you're like, I don't know, I wasn't expecting this. Thank you, I guess. So also, while you train in public speaking, you gotta be prepared and train yourself on an improv speech, something that you're not expecting. And that's what we're gonna do here. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna say a question, an improvised question. I'm gonna call you, you're gonna come here, and for up to 2 minutes, you're gonna answer that question. Whatever you wanna say. Whatever. For that, I'm gonna need some helpers. I'm gonna need a timer, somebody that measures that time. Oh my God, everybody's getting nervous.
I'll be the timer.
You're gonna be the timer? But that doesn't necessarily exclude you from speaking. If you're the timer and I call you, then you're gonna pass it, you gotta pass that role to somebody else.
Okay.
Guys, this is putting into practice what I'm speaking about and the fear. It comes down to that. As a matter of fact, Nick, you said, right?
Yep.
If you don't mind reading the back of my, what does it say out loud?
The fears you don't face become your limits.
If you don't face this fear, then you're never gonna be a public speaker.
Is that your initial in the front?
No, this is actually Lead Builders. It's the organization that we are at EXP.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I want to do that. Helpers. Christy, you said timer. I'm going to put you to time. But just know. So I'm going to give you these cards, Christy. What I'm going to do is this. Whoever is in the front speaking, you're going to track the time. Put a timer in your phone. Once they get, it's a minimum of 1 minute. You gotta be up here answering the question that I'm gonna give you for at least 1 minute. After you see that in your timer it reached 1 minute, you're gonna raise this card. So the person that is here can see it. And that, it's letting them know that they meet the basic requirement. If they're here and 1 minute hasn't passed, they cannot get off stage. It has to be at least 1 minute. But it doesn't have to be up to 1 minute. They can get to 1 minute 30. And whenever you get to that point, you flip it to this card. If they get to 2 minutes, you flip it to this card. That signal, the 2 minutes, you're giving them 30 seconds to wrap up. And then if they get to 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you're signaling this. And if they get to this point, you pass your time. And as we said, there has to be a time for your speech. 2.5 minutes in this particular setting, you're passing your time. And that's what we want to avoid. We want to avoid you getting to that past time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Everybody understand? And I'm also going to give you a piece of paper where you're going to put their names and their time, their exact time next to it. And we're gonna track that. We're gonna track the time so we know who qualified for not and stay within the time frame. Any questions with that?
what are we gonna be talking about? Because 2 minutes feels like an eternity.
Especially when
All in the same boat, so don't feel bad.
everybody's on the same boat. I love this. And you know what I love about this? These guys, this is what I do every week. I'm being put on the spot every week. I train for this, and this is part of it. She's just rubbing her legs.
Oh, we're gonna get video? Oh.
We're gonna get video. I mean, I don't have to post it if you don't want to. I can share it with you so you can see yourself and you can get feedback from yourself. That's a powerful thing, guys.
It might be really good.
It's gonna be great. You can only improve what you measure, and this is what we're doing here. We're measuring your skills and what you do. All right? So I'm gonna give you another thing. I need another role. Any volunteer?
What role is that?
All right, you're gonna be my volunteer. It's pretty easy.
Okay.
You're gonna put the name of the speaker, and here in this page you have an on, odd, you know, so, leaks more, like, other. Those are called crutch words. What you were referring about that you want to improve on, the we do that as fillers between one sentence to another. We do that often. Everyone does it. But the more you track that and look at yourself, you can reduce that. The on, like, you know, that actually can look as an insecurity too. You shouldn't be able to do that. There's no reason why you put those words in your conversations. So you're gonna be tracking that. You are ons, odd, you know, so. If you see anybody doing this,
Who's gonna count?
you're gonna put then,
Lip smack.
you're gonna put a 1, 2, like you're just gonna count it.
Okay.
You're gonna pay attention to that and count it. And at the end, we're gonna give a report and give that feedback back to the person up here. So my roles are filled, timer, and then we have an A counter. So my first question is, if I were to ask you to prepare something with whatever you have on your fridge right now, what would you do and why? Janice?
It's not realistic.
It's an improv. It's improv, that's what it's about.
Prepare.
So you have to come here. Give it up for Janice, guys.
Can they sign in so I can make sure I spell their name?
Yes, Janice. J-A,
N-I-C-E.
there you go.
Okay, that was a tough one. I thought I was expecting a real estate one. What I have in my fridge and I'm about to prepare for dinner.
Yes. Timer, start now.
My name is Janice Scott, and I'm a cook. I got my chef's license about a year ago. I am actually going to prepare for you something just randomly right now from a refrigerator. So come with me, let me show you. So I'm looking at a little bit of turkey and some rice. And I also have some cheddar cheese. Seems kind of yucky, isn't it? But let's see what we can do with that. I'm gonna first clean my turkey necks. I'm gonna braise them with a little liquid. And then I'm also going to saute them with onions and peppers. When I'm done with that, I'll put some sazon in, and then I'll also put in my white rice. And I will let that simmer for about 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, we constantly turn our rice along with our turkey necks over to ensure that it's evenly cooked. And after another 15 minutes on the stove, we will dish our dish and serve it with a glass of red wine. Ooh. I'm done. I'm done.
There you go.
That's what I love that.
12 seconds left.
1 minute and 12
Well, no,
seconds.
she was not, she didn't even hit a minute yet.
Oh,
7 seconds.
so you gotta keep talking then. You haven't hit a minute.
I missed that.
So you restart, put it back,
You have
and
7 seconds.
Okay. So this is a very traditional dish from the country that I'm from, Jamaica. And we tend to serve this usually with Jamaican vegetables or produce from our local farmers. We also tend to use this dish mainly for main gatherings such as weddings and any birthday parties that we might have. So this is one of our traditional dishes, and I do hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you, Janice. Give it up for Janice. So,
It sounds good. I mean, so you want me to just put the total that she went?
so you put the total time. Did you raise the car with the time once you reach 1 minute?
I did.
Okay.
And then she got to 1:30.
Perfect. That's part of the role. To make sure that they can see the time.
Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome. What do you guys think about Janice's speech?
I thought she
I thought she
great
could.
presentation.
Okay,
I
good.
was engaged. I wanted the recipe.
There you go. There you go.
Turkey necks, that's
Anything to improve. The only way to improve is to be honest and real. Anything that you notice,
guys.
and she doesn't mind, whatever it is.
That's why we're here.
The very first one, and it was obvious, guys. I gave a rule, and she didn't get to 1 minute. It felt like an eternity here. I know that 1 minute, it feels like an eternity. But that is part of why we practice it. Because for you, oh my God, it was like 5 minutes. It felt like 5-10 minutes. Only 42 seconds, guys. And the only way to understand that is to be here. We do that often with clients when we get nervous and we don't go in front of the entire presentation. We prepare a whole listening presentation and a whole conversation, but we're so nervous about the public speaking part that we just go, and the presentation that you picture to be an hour and a half ended up being 15 minutes. And you miss a lot of valuable information to share with your clients. Does that make sense?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
When you go up and speak, are you supposed to like say your, like a lot of times I hear no, like say your name, where you're from and all that I hear?
That's a great question. It depends on the setting. In this particular case, I'm giving you the freedom to say whatever you want.
What is the best? Like what would, you know?
What is it? The what?
What would you advise?
Whatever you want. That's the beauty. It's called improv. You gotta improvise. And improvising is whatever you have. Sometimes you forget the question that I ask you. Well, you have to say something. Talk about the weather.
Right.
Sometimes we find ourselves in gatherings where we're forced to say something. Again, if you're in that spot where they pass you the mic and you don't know what to say, you gotta say something. And you gotta be comfortable in saying something. And the more comfortable you get, the better the speech is gonna be. It's Natasha, right?
No, Valerie.
Valerie. Oh yeah, Valerie Torres. Yes, sorry. I'm confusing somebody. My bad. I'm just making sure that I have all the names. And you say your name? Maria. Perfect. Huh? No. So my next question is, I'm gonna say the questions first and then call you out. If you were to go back in time, 10 years ago, what would be one thing that you would do differently 10 years ago, and why? Maria. Give it up for Maria.
Hi everybody, I'm the latecomer to this party, but I'm very sorry that I'm late because I can see that you have plenty of good information. My name is Maria Becerra. I've been a realtor for about 24 years. And about 10 years ago, we were just about coming out of the recession, the Great Recession. And during that time, I had decided to become a broker. And I went to class and I took the exam and I passed. And my big regret that I have from that time is that I got busy doing real estate. And by the time I got around to taking the 60-hour post-licensing class, I did not have time to take it. So I had to give up my broker's license in order to continue doing real estate, and I reverted back to a realtor. Now, 10 years later, I'm getting a little older. I'm thinking about retiring, and I'm a busy realtor. So I wanted to figure that I couldn't just quit doing real estate and go from being active to being completely inactive and basically waiting for death. I did not want that. That's not me. So I decided to become a broker again. And I took classes this April, and I just passed my broker's exam this past week. And the reason why I'm doing it is because I'm going to become a real estate teacher. And that's what brings me to this class. Anyway, that's my story.
Thank you, Maria. Reports, what was the time for Maria?
A minute and 32.
Okay, there you go, just stick within the time, right? The ad counter, you were counting the odds for her, right?
It was the lip smacking.
Lid smacking.
2 lip smacks and 1 sew.
Yeah. Why do you think that we measure and track the lip smacking?
It's distracting.
So I think it's nervousness. Because
It
I
is.
was up there and I was nervous.
The reason
So I know you guys aren't.
we all are, and I know that everyone here are gonna be nervous. It happens to me every time. Imagine being put in the spot and you don't know what to say. You weren't expecting coming here that you're gonna be speaking with me up here, right? But we all actually react to the nervousness in different ways. Something that for me, I thought, and I remember telling my instructor, I don't get nervous. Like, at least I need to work on everything else. I feel that I don't get nervous. And Brian, like, I see you pacing a lot. At the beginning, I used to talk like this, yeah, and stuff, and this and that. And it's like, that was my way of coping with my nervousness. And so we all do it in different ways. Some people it's with their hands, and all of that is distracting. Regardless if it's pacing, if it's with your hands, lip smacking, we all do different stuff. And that's why we have somebody else looking at you. In the meetings that I go to, which is Toastmaster, I can share a little bit more about it if you guys are interested. We also have a role of body language, somebody looking at our body language. And they can tell us, oh, you didn't use your hands. You kept the entire time your hands in your pocket. You did this, some people stay like this, some people stay here. You didn't use the room, some people just stay here. You can move, guys. And the more you move, the more confident you sound. You didn't look at people's face, you look down, you look up. But if I'm able to look at the entire room, it shows confidence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I counted 2 so's from Maria.
2, I missed 1.
Yeah, so 2 so's. Again, without realizing, we use it as connectors. And the more we try to eliminate that, the better your speech. My next question is,
This is good.
you like it?
Yeah.
I'm laughing at Valerie right now. She's,
My heart is like.
I'm gonna have a. Me too.
we all. My next question is, what was the last Christmas present that you received that it was impactful to you and meant something very good? And why? Valerie.
Say that again.
Your last Christmas present that represented something big to you. And why? Valerie?
Thank you. Hi, my name is Valerie Torres. I'm a realtor in Coral Springs, and the last Christmas present that I received that was very impactful to me came from my dad, who's no longer with me. So he had given me actually a Macy's credit card, and I was like, oh, I'll use it one day, whatever. Just kind of tucked it in my wallet and didn't really think much about it. And then fast forward about like maybe 2 years later, I was kind of going through my wallet, and then I saw like the Macy's credit card, the Macy's gift card. And then I ended up, using it and bought myself a very nice gift, of course, very nice sunglasses. But I just kept thinking about how I didn't really I'm using how I didn't really appreciate the present when I first got it. I just kind of just tucked it away, and the lesson I learned from that was that when you're in the moment, someone is giving you a gift or anything where they're extending themselves, to really take the time to appreciate what they're doing for you. Because I didn't really get to appreciate the present until literally like 2 years later. And how many people can kind of relate to that? Like when you're just rushing, you're in the moment, you're not thinking about the gestures people are making, and it's like an afterthought. So I was able to kind of, even though the gift was given to me 2 years ago, I didn't get to really appreciate it until 2 years later. So it was a very impactful gift that I was able to get for myself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Miss Timer.
1 minute and 29 seconds.
1 minute and 29 seconds. Perfect. You stick within the time frame.
Okay.
Perfect. What do you guys think about any ons?
We have a few ahs.
Yeah.
Okay.
6 ums and 4 ahs
Okay.
and 2 so's.
Do you notice how she noticed while she was giving the speech?
Yes.
And the only way she did is because now we're paying attention to it. It's in her conscious. And that's the beauty about the exercise that we're doing. And if you do this often, trust me, you're gonna start counting. Sometimes I'm having a conversation with my wife, and in my mind, I'm counting on the likes and ums without even realizing, guys. And it's like, what am I doing? I'm not in Toastmaster. I'm not practicing right now. But it's so ingrained in my brain right now that even in a phone conversation, like, just come naturally because I'm conscious about it. And the more conscious about it, the more I can improve it. What else do you notice about her speech?
Repetition.
Okay. That she repeated at the end.
Like I got the story and
then
I got
she-
the story again for a second time. Like,
Yes. Because you wanted to make sure that she stick to the time. I'm sure that was the purpose, right?
And nervousness also.
You're nervous. What else?
I do that, so I repeat myself.
I could say 2 things too. I noticed something. At the beginning, you started with your hands in the back. At some point, you also cross your legs. That's something to work on. That's body language. And it's understandable. You were nervous. I actually made you a favor to call you now because I saw you even from the beginning, just rubbing your legs.
She's much better now.
You know, but now you're better because you're off. You might be off. Maybe I call you again. You know. But it's true. Like, look how you confront the fear. You're no longer gonna be in the spot, and you're like, okay, I got over that. That is public speaking, and that's how fearful we are about it. You know what I like about her speech? It was powerful.
She made me want to
I was gonna say,
listen to
maybe
her.
sure.
Want to hear the
I wanted to
story.
listen to her.
Right? You wanted to listen more about that.
Yeah.
What was the gift? You know, it put you in a spot. It came from the spot, from their heart, right?
Engaging.
Because she was being herself.
Genuine.
That was genuine.
And I was lying.
I was gonna say, when do you get your chef certificate or?
I'm like, that's not fair. She's a chef.
So, but it's true. But in your case, you didn't look as nervous as her, maybe.
But she didn't sound nervous though. She sounded more like a social gathering, more engaging.
Yeah,
So I wanted to hear more.
yeah. But we all connected more with her story
Yes.
than yours.
Of course.
Because hers, regardless of how she presented, it came from her heart. It was from, and it's not that we're improvising here. I'm not giving you time to think, right? And that's the beauty of it. For some people, not having the time to think can come up with okay, let me act.
That's exactly what happened.
What happened to you? For her, it's like, it happened to be that the question brought a specific memory. So that was powerful. Thank you for sharing, by the way. Is everything that I'm saying making sense to you guys?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys want to do a couple more?
Yeah.
There you go. Only one person said yeah.
4 or 5 more.
I think we have time for everybody. I'm getting excited. All right. Next question will be, trying to think. I had a list of questions, but coming within on the spot, that's the beauty of it. If you were to have the freedom to travel somewhere, money not being an issue and timing not being an issue, where would you go and why? Lucely. Time starts now. Lucely.
Hi, my name is Lucely. I'm a realtor in Fort Lauderdale, recently switched there. If I got to choose to go somewhere, I would choose to go to Greece. Why? I was there last year and I can say that I was my happiest ever. I felt like, I don't know, it was this happiness inside me that I never felt before. It was the culture, the people there, they were so genuine. The people, they seemed to enjoy life more than anywhere else. I'm from Colombia and it's the same in Colombia. Like when you go to Colombia, people are so happy. You see people walking at the malls, eating an ice cream, and it's like they look happy. But Greece to me was very different. I went to a little island, it was the hippie island. And I connected in that island so well. There was no internet, there was nothing there, but I felt happy. I felt like I wanted to go back there. Even though a lot of people was making fun that I was going to a hippie island. People ask me that if I was hippie, and I do. I always said that I do have some hippie in me. I like certain things that only a hippie person will like. So if I get to choose to go somewhere, it would be Greece.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Timer, did she meet the timing requirements?
1 minute and 27 seconds.
Okay, there you go.
I heard two ums, one ah, and one so.
There you go. All right. What do you guys?
I look nervous.
I mean, we all do. Again, we cope differently. What do you guys notice in her speech?
It started off slow and then she got in her rhythm.
Good, right? Once you found that, it's like she went for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was happy and engaging and made us want to go to Greece.
There you go. And it was genuine. She was talking about a genuine feeling. What else?
And she thinks like she really wants to be a hippie.
That was funny, but it's also genuine too.
Yeah.
You know, she brought a joke about herself and something.
good.
Yeah. What else? I don't know if you guys noticed, but as time progressed, she started talking about Greece, but she noticed that she didn't meet the time requirement, and she brought it like, oh, Colombia, and we're like this, trying to come up with stuff to meet the timing criteria, bringing stuff in, because she knows that there's a time requirement, and
Was that a no-no?
no, that was good.
Okay, good.
When
That's what I
in
thought.
this
I
in
thought
this
like to engage. Okay.
in this a scenario where we're it's an improv. We're improvising. In this scenario, you need to speak for at least 1 minute, so you have to come up with something. Or nature is to say something. If I give her the choice, or anybody else with the same question, she will have say, oh, I will go back to Greece because I really like it, and then go back to her seat.
She made great eye contact with us too.
Yes.
That was good, it's true. Great eye contact.
Yes.
Something that I noticed, her body posture most of the time she looked confident. At some point she crossed her legs too, like Valerie did at some point. Like we all, it becomes like the same things. You start noticing. Her hands here, she didn't move it that much, but at least she kept it up. Some people, believe it or not, they talk like with their hands here. That's distracting. Some people just keep it here. That's boring. So there has to be a balance. You want to keep your hands here and use it. If I'm talking about the East versus the West and why I like Europe versus America, I don't know. But you can use your hands as a tool to communicate better. You guys notice in my speech, as we start descending and swimming with the sharks, I'm using my hands. If I want to relate the same story and I'm like, and so we start descending and I was swimming with sharks, it wouldn't be the same. I brought up props. Now, mine was a prepared speech. Sometimes we have to prepare for something. Usually, that's the most common way for us to speak. We have to prepare for a listing presentation, for a buyer consultation, to a receiving award. Sometimes we know that we're going to receive an award, but why not then prepare using these tools? I'm enjoying this. A little bit more. Next question will be, what was the last thing, because we're all realtor here, that you learned about real estate that you found that it was super helpful in your business, and why? Nick?
Hey, I'm Nick. I'm relatively new to real estate. I'm just 2 months into the game. And just yesterday we had an amazing event. Jeff Glover from, he is from up north in Michigan. He has a team that he sells like over 1,000 homes a year. And he was teaching us what to do. And one thing that I took away from that course is going to be one more event next week, but so far I want to work and develop myself by calling expired listings. So I want to just polish my skills and get so good at it by dedicating like 3-4 hours a day calling expires, and there's no way after like 6 months of doing it I'm not going to get a listing. So I'm determined. I'm really excited about moving forward with a real estate career, and by my nature, like I like hustling and I don't mind taking rejection, and I think calling expired listings is something it suits my nature, and like I don't mind hearing those no's to get to a yes. So I'm really excited about this career and about expired listings.
Thank you. What do you guys think about Nick's speech? Well, first of all, timer.
Minute 22 seconds.
Okay. Counter.
2 ums, 2 so's, 1 lip smack, and a lot of ands connecting sentences.
Okay. Thoughts about the speech?
He's motivated.
Motivated. And he expressed that. What else?
Excited.
Excited.
He's not giving up, and he's not scared.
That's the content of it. Okay. What about the structure, body language, spacing, confidence?
He stands still, like didn't just
Yeah,
look
well-
at his like that.
Okay. There you go. So what I noticed, one thing is, immediately as you come up, you extended your hand and gave me a handshake. And I know that you did that because you noticed that I started doing it with everybody else. The speech, remember these guys, the speech starts even before you start talking. It's at the introduction. So that small gesture of coming to me and doing this, that says a lot. The way that if I'm here and somebody's introducing myself, now you're gonna have somebody that sold more than 400 homes in his career. He's a coach for 30 plus agents and this and that and talk. And I'm just like this and not paying attention. That says a lot, right? But if I'm here, my body language speaks from that moment because you're all looking at me. I'm the one being introduced. So if I come to here, I want to acknowledge the person that is introducing me just by a simple handshake. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And the way, whenever you're leaving the stage too, if that person is here, you want to acknowledge that person too. You don't want to just run off the stage. In whatever environment. I've seen that before. I once received an award and I saw people like just coming and just grabbing the award, taking the picture, and then just leaving. Regardless of who giving you want to acknowledge that person. Oh, thank you so much. And then you take the award, take the picture, and then acknowledge, thank you. And then you go off stage. That makes a huge difference. That speaks volume. And you did that at the beginning. But you didn't do it at the end. Exactly. But now it's something to pay attention. And I don't know if you guys, any of you noticed, because he did it at the beginning, I was expecting it at the end, and I did this. And he didn't even notice that. And he left. So, something to consider, to acknowledge in the person that is introducing yourself. In my opinion, you sound very confident. And look, you probably may be the one, you said that you've been in real estate for how long?
2 months.
2 months. Probably all of us been doing real estate for way longer, right? But in your case, the confidence in your body posture and your speech, the public speaking part, it sounded more confident. You were relaxed and you were pacing
I
yourself.
didn't feel that way though.
You didn't feel that great, but you pace yourself. And that's instead of just going fast. A lot of us, we cope on going fast, but you were pacing yourself and you look calm. So, guys, thank you so much. We're gonna leave it there. So, what do you guys think? Final comments, questions, concerns, thoughts about what I talked to you?
How do we practice to get better?
That's a great question. So there's so many ways to do it. There's so many coaches out there. Now, when I decided to do this and pursue it professionally, I did a lot of research and I actually my wife referred it to me because she did it a long time ago. There's this organization called Toastmasters. Have you heard of it? Yes. It's an international organization. It's a non-profit. In my opinion, it's the cheapest and most effective way to start in public speaking. You can pay somebody thousands of dollars. Toastmaster, it's like $60 every 6 months. It's like $10 per month. Because again, it's been around for more than 100 years. They have smaller groups. If you look it up on Google and put Toastmaster, you probably have clubs around here in less than a couple miles radius. So there's a bunch of clubs.
So there's in-person events there?
In worldwide. And they have in person and also they have over Zoom. There's clubs that they run over Zoom. I think that the power is in practicing in person because usually that's how you usually deliver a speech. But there's groups that they do everything over Zoom. And if you don't have the flexibility to go and drive somewhere, you can do it through Zoom too. There's so many of them. So I've been doing one. I've been part of Toastmaster Las Olas in Fort Lauderdale for about a year now. We meet every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And all we practice is public speaking. And we all come with different intentions. But in general, it's to face the fear, to get better in communication skill, to reduce my accent. There's so many paths when it comes to public speaking. Some people want to do it for comedy, coaching, leadership. There's so many reasons why, but it's a skill completely separate from your profession. You can be very, very good at what you do, and we all know some of those people. They're very good at what you do, but when they open their mouth, because that's a completely separate skills. So Toastmaster is the way that I do it and the way that I recommend. It's the easiest, simplest, and cheapest way to start into public speaking. That's a great question. About this one? That's the purpose. I'm glad that you guys came. If you guys find that it was valuable, this is the first one that I put in, but if you guys find value, we'd love to put another one. We'd love to put another one.
I thought it was great.
Thank you. And have Valerie come here and talk again. But this is what we do every week, guys. There's a structure to the meeting. We all participate. Every week, somebody else lead the meeting. We have a counter. We have a timer. We have a body language. We have a grammarian that pays attention. And then every week, 3 or 4 speakers come and prepare a speech, 4 to 7 minutes. Kind of like the speech that I was telling you about the sharks and diving with sharks. That was a prepared speech. And you can come and bring your props. And then at the end, people give you feedback. So that's the only way to improve. I'm telling you, a couple of years ago, I wasn't speaking like this. And I'm still in the journey. I'm not there, but I definitely have improved a lot by putting the work. Any other questions, comments?
I just want to say this, I don't know if I've been in real estate longer than any of you. I'm the oldest one here, I know that. I just found this such a nice bit of fresh air from all the rest of the courses that are offered to us.
Thank you.
And it actually captured my attention. Even if I weren't going to be a teacher, I even invited my son, except he overslept. And I just think you ought to do it some more. I think it's very nice.
Awesome.
Really
So if you guys spread the word and want to buy more agents, we'll be glad to do it. So, but it's the first one that I do, and it's after I seen the power. Why did I make the decision to get better? I'm going to tell you a little bit of the story. In 2022, I actually was awarded by Miami Association of Realtors a top 20 under 40 in 2022. And they invite us to do a speech. And there was like maybe 100 people. And I was like, okay, I want to speak. Well, I was awarded a top producer agent for the entire association, more than 60,000 agents, right? So I'm good at what I do, but when I was in front of that public, I was so nervous. Somebody recorded and I just cringed looking myself. I'm like, what am I saying there? I said all the ons. All of a sudden, I don't even know how to speak English. It's like I forgot everything. So at that point, I was like, but then I saw the power. I was at a moment at the front, and everybody, 100-something people were looking at me. So I had the power through a mic to impact someone that day. So I was like, I saw the power, but I didn't take advantage of that. I didn't impact, I feel at least, that I didn't impact anybody because I was nervous. I don't know how to speak. I didn't share a personal story. I thought that I had to come up with something and act. And then through research, I realized you just have to be yourself. That's what actually brings confidence. And talk about yourself. That's what everybody's there to hear. That's what people rely on and they can relate to. So after that, I made the decision like, I'm gonna get serious on that, and that was probably, 2022. So a couple of years ago. I did research, look at videos, I found Toastmaster, I went to one club, like it, didn't connect with the people, but then switched to another club. Again, there's so many of them, and you can join. It's non-profit. It's an organization that is run by its members. You were gonna say something? Oh, sorry.
What have you seen? How have you seen it impact the most in your real estate career, like in front of clients?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question.
Where have you used it the most in front of clients?
That's a great question. One, in my case, as an immigrant, accent reduction. I was born in New York, but I was raised in the Dominican Republic, where I'm from. I've only been in this country since 2015. I didn't speak the language.
That's pretty good, man.
I mean, I studied English in my country, but I came to this country basically not speaking the language. I came here to practice. So I had if I have an accent now, before it was worse. So it reduced my accent. It also helped me to get rid of some of the nervousism too, that we all have, communicate better. I do a lot through social media. We all here are in social media.
That was going to be my second question.
We all understand the value of social media. And we all post on social media. Now, there's a difference. A lot of the posts that you guys do, it's maybe redacting something, writing something, a picture. You're not coming on video. Why? Because when you're in video, that's a form of public speaking. You're in front of a camera. And guess what? When you put that camera in front of you, that's when your insecurities start coming. Oh my God, I don't have makeup and this and that and this, and I have a people here. Like, you're not showing as yourself. But we know that we all see videos of people talking to the camera, and we know that that's a powerful skill. But we don't do it because we don't practice it. Well, that's why I decided to do it. I decided to be serious about social media about 2 years ago. I post a lot of content, and public speaking has helped with all of that. You only have in a reel a minute and a half to deliver a message. So you can have all the visual in the world, the best cameras in front of you, but if you don't know what to say in a concise time, your message is not going to be well received. So because of all these reasons, it has helped me communication skills with clients, accent reduction, with social media and all the work that I'm doing. I show you all the benefits. There's a lot of benefits, a lot. Just by showing confidence, guys, that opens doors for you. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't show the confidence that you can get the job done, people are not gonna hire you.
I was gonna ask, haven't you like reduced or worked on like the physical symptoms that you get from public speaking, like the heart racing, the dizziness, the flushing of the face?
I would say it's a simple answer. Yeah, simple answer. That's why I wanted to share the story about diving with sharks. You remember my diving instruction saying, just dive. If you want to remember the skills, the signs, how to put the best, how to push the tank, just go dive.
Repetition.
The more often you go dive, the more you're gonna remember. It's the same thing with public speaking. Just speak. Just speak. Now, speak, but also be intentional and pay attention. Christy was like, oh, I'm gonna be recorded? Yes, that's whenever you are gonna speak, record yourself and look at the video so you can go back and noticing these things. Pay attention to your aunts, your body language, your grammar, the use of the sentences, the words that you use, all of that. Pay attention to it. So that's how you get better.
I started posting just like 3 days ago, I decided to start posting YouTube shorts.
Yeah.
And I heard like if you just read Q&A, because nobody asked me real estate questions yet, so I just read the real estate questions on the Google, and I would read the question and I would record answer in the video like under a minute.
Yeah.
And it takes me like 70 tries to get one that is under a
Yeah,
minute.
to get one video.
2 hours to record.
I
40
know,
seconds.
I know. I've been there, done that. Why we laugh? Because we all been there, done that. It comes down to one word:
Practice.
insecurity. If you just shoot, imagine that you only have that minute, and regardless of how you say it, you're going to say it and post it. That's your true self. Don't get me wrong, you probably, if you don't practice public speaking, that video, you're gonna sound so bad, but that's who you are in that moment.
So you should not overthink and just
do it.
don't do that many tries.
Just put it out, record yourself, put it out there.
I do it, but I just take too many tries.
Cringe every time you see it, and that is helpful, because that is gonna force you to practice and get better.
Yeah.
You go to my social media. Right now, I have a professional video editor on staff. That's why I have the videographer. I'm gonna edit this video.
What is it?
What was that?
Social media?
If you go to my social media is Brian Murillo, which is BrianMorillo, Brian Murillo. If you go to my social media,
A green background, right?
yes, green background. So I have a lot of content, well edited content, right? Because now I have a full-time video editor, because I'm investing a lot of time and resources in that. But if you scroll down and start scrolling down, talking about like a lot, you're gonna find myself probably like almost 2 years ago, me, my cell phone, and a tripod, talking to the camera and sounding completely different. Back then my goal was like, okay, I'm gonna record one video every day, no matter what. And I used to wake up early in my office, at my house, put a tripod and just start talking. Guys,
How long those videos?
1 minute.
1 minute.
Yeah. So, and at the beginning, I spent an hour doing the same thing, and then I don't like this one, and editing the video myself and putting the filters, and all of that.
It's Brian Murillo.
Yes, but I told myself, no matter what, I'm gonna post it. And start posting it. Guess what? You start gaining confidence and getting better.
Are you on YouTube or?
I'm on YouTube too, the same way. Brian Murillo, BrianMorillo, Brian Murillo.